I've hit a bit of a roadblock in the channel where I don't know what to talk about. I've filmed, I don't know, 20 or 30 of these talks, me just rambling at the camera. I don't have a script. I just like to go. I feel like it's more authentic. I'll probably feel like a robot if I'm just reading some bullshit. But that makes it very hard with my brain to stay on topic. And I almost always end up talking about either some bullshit or I'll bridge over to some other topic that I feel like should be its own video. But even if it's more constructive, tangenting like that, it it's not optimal. But I find that that's probably inevitable because there are so many topics that I have to cover that require prior understanding of something else that I have to talk about to fully grasp what I'm talking about, what I mean. So I'm just gonna have to roll with it at some point. So I'm just gonna have to roll into some topic. I might as well start at one of the important ones, the secret. And it's to summarize, there isn't one. There's a lot of tips and tricks and ideas and a lot of things that I think are misunderstood in this game. I have a lot of ideas that are very contrary to the norm. But the basic gist of it is the harder you can the more you can hurt yourself without injuring yourself, and the more time you spend doing that, the better you're going to be. So that's not useful though. Okay. I mean, it might be. Actually it is, but that's its own talk down the line because a lot of people would disagree with me. So convincing you of that would be helpful. But even if you're somebody who's just is open to information of whatever, you're not contrary in your mind. You're not going to be like, "Well, you're stupid." Okay. Just telling you this is not helpful. Kind of like just telling somebody to eat less calories is not helpful. Okay. Yeah, you'll lose weight if you just eat less, but that's not an action plan, that'll can help somebody to do that. It's a really stupid way to think about diet. And there's more helpful ways to think about working harder than to just tell somebody, hey, fucking work harder. So I was at the gym last night and I hurt myself. Okay. And it was the third time in a week that I hurt myself, actually. And for current discussion, what I mean by hurt myself is not just something that day that doesn't feel good, I'm going to stop. No, 3 times in a week, I have damaged myself in a way that changes the way I live at least the next few days. Sometimes that's the next few weeks or months or years or forever. Who knows? But fortunately, this week it was everything that happened is probably something I'll forget about in a month. They'll be replaced with other minor injuries. Just is what it is. Now, this is not something you should shoot for. You should not try to get injured. Like I said, the summary of the secret is to get as close, push yourself as close to that as you can without stepping over that edge. And do that for as much time as possible. The thing is, I'm going to talk about a thing that I do and a thing you can do to work harder without hurting yourself so much. Even though I just said that I hurt myself all the fucking time. I'm going to tell you how I hurt myself. And whatever. We'll just jump to it. So I posted already my leg day from last night where I hit a PR. Okay. I did hack squats in the Tom Platz signature style or whatever for 2 reps. Like the set was 10 reps, but 2 of those reps were my actual working reps, essentially. And I did it with 5 plates per side. And that is a PR in the typical sense of how people think of PRs, I guess. Not exactly, because I had other reps in the set, but it's close enough to how typically people train. That was a PR. And I was concerned going into that set. It's a little bit why I did the little warm up rep before my 2 reps. If you watch the video, I'll link it. Because I was already injured from earlier in the week, different leg day. And I was like, this is a dangerous lift. Okay, I need to really focus and not paralyze myself for life because it was my low back that I hurt earlier in the week. So I really focused on it and I got it done. Fantastic. And after hitting that PR or whatever, I did some other stuff and I was building up to my real working set of the day. And, when I'm serious, when I'm doing this lifestyle for real, it depends how involved everything else in my life is. I've done like full body every day, and I've done this for every muscle group or lifting uh, major lift or whatever for every day. But at a minimum, I should have one serious, hard working set is not accurate, I feel, but work one seriously hard working set of the day. And I just told you I hit a PR on what most people would consider a very hard lift. But that shit was cake. That was not, in my mind, what hard work is. Hitting PRs in that way, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 reps, it's more like a measuring stick of how far you've gone rather than actually what gets you there. So sometime last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure. I posted a video of me doing hamstring curls with the full stack to 100. And that shit was scary. Before I got on there, I was like, there's no way I'm going to hit this. And I hit it. I hit it pretty cleanly, actually. I probably could have done more. But my goal for the day was 100, and I was fucking hurting at the end of it, so I stopped. Because I had succeeded in my goal that I set for myself. Good times. Next time I'll just set a higher goal. And that's what I did last night. I was going to sit down, and I was like, I'm going to hit 120 with a full stack. And if I'm still feeling good, I'm not going to be a bitch this time. I'm going to go for 200. But at a minimum, I'm not going to get off of this fucking chair until I hit 120 reps. Or or maybe I'll break or die first. And that's what happened. The thing was, I was feeling confident in that lift because uh, what I hurt was my low back from earlier in the week. I wasn't that as worried about it as I was for the actual PR. So I snapped it. I'll post that lift too. I'll post the lift of me doing that because I thought I was going to film myself doing, possibly 200. I'd be like, that'd be great, great lift to upload, even though no one really watches the actually, the actually hard sets are not the ones that stand out. But whatever. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff you need to do. And I said that I hurt myself on this, but also it's very rare to hurt yourself on a set of 100 or something because the lighter it is in comparison to your max strength, the less likely you're going to hurt yourself. I actually hurt my low back initially, like I re-hurt it on the leg curls. last night, but the initial injury was a set of 30 single leg glute thingy. I don't know what it's called. Thingy. Okay. Whatever. It was a single leg something max stack for 30, which is how I initially hurt my low back. It was just a re injury last night. Something that usually would be pretty safe. And my recommendation to you is that you start incorporating very large sets into your workouts. Everybody lifts like there's a lot of like, oh man, what's the optimal bodybuilding rep range? Is it 8 reps, 12 maybe, 15? Oh man, super high tier bodybuilders work in like 20s or 30s. I think it's a lot higher actually. I think most of the heavy lifting, as you'd say, in this endeavor is in the very large sets. There's a few reasons to this that could tangent out into other conversations that I'll have in the future, so I'm going to try to not do that too much, but I have to cover at least a little bit here. Okay. What you need to work towards doing is like everyone, a lot of people call these larger sets like fluff and pump. That is that is that's such a like a wussy little name for it. Like I feel like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about because I mean I was aiming for higher, but just the set of 100 leg curls last week was astronomically harder than the Tom Platz hack squats with 5 plates aside. Astronomically harder. And my back was broken for the hack squats still. Like the actual perceived fatigue, difficulty, pain, suffering, way, way less. Okay. What you need to do is very simple, yet very hard. Okay. You need to work on like building up to moving heavy weight for a lot of reps. And again, there's other conversations that I need to get into about this because you're like, well, if it's heavyweight, I can't, if it's a set I can only do for 5, I'm not going to be able to do it for a lot. Okay. Right now, there was once a time where I could only hit the fucking max stack leg curl for 5 too. I mean, whatever. Without going into a lot of different concepts here, because there's like, I don't want this video to be in 8 videos, which really you'd have to do to figure, for to really understand what I'm talking about here. But these sets are not fluff and pump. These sets are fucking battles, man. When you go to the gym, I think you should try this out. And the way you're going to try this out is really simple. You're going to pick, you could just pick one thing. Like I said, at a minimum, I try to have one set that's a real fucking set a day. I'll elaborate more on a lot of these things later. But pick a machine. It makes it easier. You can't drop a dumbbell on your head or something. You can really focus more on pushing yourself on a machine because it's, you don't really have to control the weight, all this kind of stuff. And you can start with just the bottom plate, just the little bottom, whatever it is. It might be 5 pounds, 10 pounds. I don't care where you start, okay? The thing is, you're going to progressively overload, as they call it, right? But you're not going to do it with sets of 5 or 10. You're going to do it with sets of 100. So there you go. You're going to pick a weight, and it could be easy as shit the first day you do it. It could be one or two or three plates. I don't care. And hit 100 reps. You know, cool. And then you could do all the rest of your routines, your workout, whatever plan you're doing. Okay. And the next time you go in there, do 100 reps, but move that plate up one. Okay. This might be easy for 5, 6 weeks. Might be easy for 5, 6 months. Well, probably not. How small are your plates? It also might be a battle the first fucking day you do it. Where's your starting point? Eventually you're gonna get. I think that this will get you some pretty crazy gains. This scheme of progressively overloading. This is not some pump work. It's not some bullshit like wussy crap. People act like if you're, lifting light weights, then it's, you know, no. It might start light, but, you know, I'm going to bridge into some other topics here. When you're doing this set, okay, because the weight is so light to you compared to your max, there's a few things. One, you're pretty safe from injury, so you can push really fucking hard, okay? I injure myself all the time, so but I do a lot of different techniques and schemes, and I have a lot of tools in my toolbox. Very rarely do I hurt myself on triple digit sets, and I don't just stop at 100. I've done sets of 1,000. It's not very often, but you can build this kind of you can extend this idea out. Also, because you're pretty safe, and this will increase the battle aspect of it, really. Don't worry about your form or tempo. So this is going to fly, like, again, these are entire videos, entire concepts that, I disagree with, that most people seem to care about. But you're going to do whatever the fuck you can. And on a machine, this is easier because, like I said, you don't have to worry about dropping a fucking dumbbell on your face or something. You're going to sit down in this chair or whatever the machine is, and you're going to move the weight. And if your tempo has to slow down, like if you're going to sit there and you're just going to breathe until you can press it, that's fine. Or if your tempo speeds up and you're just going to bounce it off of your tendons, kind of. It's light enough where it's not going to hurt you. Who fucking cares? You're going to do what you need to do to get your 100 reps. And the next week you're going to go up a plate. Not only tempo, technique as well. Like you can, if you're doing this, you can use more of your chest or you can use more of your tricep. Like it's a different motion. Both of them move the bar forward. You're not going to worry about isolation, even on isolation exercise. And your compound movements, like on a machine, I could have examples of stuff that wouldn't make any sense to you until you're in the middle of a battle, a real battle, okay, on in the gym, and you have hit failure already 5 times in the same set, and you're not going to stop what you're doing unless your body breaks in some way. And you're doing rows, and like suddenly, like the most dominant muscle is your calves. Real shit, okay? And a lot of people would say like, "Oh, that's not what bodybuilding or what the shut up." It's ridiculous to me that people think it's a bad thing that I get more work on my calves doing a set of rows than they'll do an entire week of working their calves. This is ridiculous. No, you're gonna get it done. You're gonna set yourself down. You're gonna look at this weight because you know how hard it is from last week, and you're gonna have a higher goal. And you're gonna say, Fucking Christ, dude. I don't think I can do it. This shit's impossible. And then, you know what? You're gonna you're gonna make yourself do the impossible. And then after you've done that, you will forever be stronger. It's really that simple. It's not easy, but it's that simple. And the biggest aspect here is not even your mind is going to get so much stronger from enduring these sets because these sets, again, like I said, I've not only done 100 rep sets, I've done higher than this with some pretty heavy weight, just just doing whatever the fuck I can to not die and finish what I set out to do. Your mind is going to get so strong that your normal workouts are going to be like fucking nothing in comparison. You should try this.